Horrific video circulating on social media shows the cold-blooded, broad daylight murder of 48-year-old First City Clerk of Court employee Cassandra Jones.
Everybody's just numb, because she was a team member. She was family.
Police say her killer is 32-year-old BJ Brown, who they obtained a second-degree murder warrant for. But just hours after they started looking for him, Brown had fled to Erin, Tennessee. That's where police say during a traffic stop, Brown got out of his vehicle and shot an officer, then ran off into the dense woods.
We will not rest until he's captured, justice is served, whether it be by a jury or Jesus.
The officer has non-life-threatening injuries. Jones's life was cut short, however. A mother of 2 children, described as a hard worker trying to provide for her family. Austin Badon says Jones had domestic issues with Brown. Fox 8 has obtained a copy of the 25-page temporary restraining order Jones filed in May. It alleges Brown punched, choked, shoved, kicked, threatened, intimidated, and sexually abused her, along with mental, emotional, and financial abuse. It details an early morning incident, April 27th, around 3:30, when Brown allegedly came over and they began to fight. Jones says she told him to get out, and he hit her with a belt several times, bruising her. 911 was called, and Jones says Brown punched her and threw her to the ground, stomping on her. Once police arrived, she says Brown jumped off of her upstairs balcony to escape. After the officers left, she says he got back into her apartment where they continued to fight, and he tried to smother her with a pillow. She also alleged...
This is the murder of Cassandra Jones. Cassandra Jones was born in 1974 in Vicksburg, Mississippi. She will later go on to run tracks for Vicksburg High School. After graduating from Haynes Community College, she moved to New Orleans for employment. She was outgoing, always eager to make her own living independently, family friend Richard Cooney stated. She always tried to get up and go get it for herself. Cassandra served as a deputy clerk in New Orleans Parish. She was a valued member of her team and was stated as being a part of the fabric of New Orleans. Cassandra also had 3 daughters and 1 grandson who she adored. On June 27, 2002, in the 1400 block of Iberville Street in New Orleans, Cassandra was confronted by her ex-boyfriend, BJ Brown. Somewhere in the midst of that argument, Brown turned away and walked away from BJ and started a run. He shot her in her back and she kept on running, then she collapsed. Minutes later, he walked over towards Cassandra and shot her 2 more times, leaving her to die. BJ later walked around the complex slowly and left untouched without police involvement. This was all captured in the middle of the day for everyone to see. It was a cold-blooded and calculated murder. BJ Brown walked down the street with a gun, a long gun, without any fear of repercussion. After the shooting, BJ fled to Tennessee, where he reportedly shot a cop during a traffic stop and escaped into the woods. The New Orleans Police Department obtained an arrest warrant for BJ Brown for second-degree murder. BJ Brown had a lengthy criminal history, spanning more than a decade across several parishes in New Orleans. Most of the charges came from St. John the Baptist, where he had been arrested more than 10 times over the past 10 years. He's been arrested at least twice for domestic abuse battery. Court records show that Cassandra as one of the victims of those incidents. Both times the charges were dropped by the victim. Some of the other common charges were simply battery, robbery, and assault, along with resisting an officer and flight from an officer. officer. There's even one charge of injury or killing a police animal, along with various drug charges. Many times, he appeared to have been arrested with outstanding warrants. In an obtained copy of the 25-page temporary restraining order that Cassandra filed in May but never showed up in court to follow through on, it alleged BJ Brown punched, choked, shoved, kicked, threatened, intimidated, and sexually abused her, along with mental, emotional, and financial abuse. It details an early morning incident on April 27, 2022, around 3:30 a.m. when Brown allegedly came over and they began to fight. Jones said she told him to get out and he hit her with a belt several times, bruising her. 911 was called and Jones said Brown punched her and threw her to the ground, stomping on her. Once police arrived, she said Brown jumped off of her upstairs balcony to escape. After the officers left, she said he got back into her apartment where they continued to fight and he tried to smother her with a pillow. She also alleged there was another occasion where she confronted him about cheating on her and he punched her and knocked her teeth out. Cassandra's daughter and the rest of her family could not believe that BJ could have done such a horrible and cruel thing to Cassandra, a person that once loved him. As bad of a person as he was to her and all the things that he had done, they never thought that he would be capable of doing something so horrific. In further search about BJ's violent history, Glenisha Dixon, the woman that BJ was having an alleged affair with when he was involved with Cassandra, also filed a domestic abuse battery complaint against him. After Cassandra ended her relationship with BJ, there was a point afterwards that he wanted to get back with her, and she refused to. She had already moved on and didn't want any part of him anymore. That was one of the main reasons why he was so upset and filled with so many rage towards Cassandra. He just wasn't willing to accept that she did not want any parts of him anymore. On June 29, 2022, BJ Brown was captured in the hills of Tennessee and was taken into custody after being pinned to a police car. Brown was charged with the murder of Cassandra Jones and attempted murder of a Tennessee police officer who attempted to stop Jones hours after Cassandra's shooting on a highway. BJ Brown is being held on a $5 million bond. It was said at his court hearing that he did not have an attorney and was appointed a public defender. Our prayers and condolences go out to Cassandra's children, grandchildren, and her extended family on such a horrific and terrible loss. May her soul continue to rest in peace. Until next time on the Meaningful Talk Crime Doc, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you guys later in the comment section.